24% of sellers say I'm getting the skills training that I need, whereas 80% are saying I'm getting a deal coaching. Right. That's a huge delta between those two numbers. And it's interesting because we talk to a lot of leaders day to day. We see a lot of leaders on LinkedIn or other platforms talking about how they have this really great coaching culture internally. So from your perspective, when people have been talking about a coaching culture, has it just been like the wrong type of coaching where it's like that just in time, last minute? Sure, if you're in a deal, we're going to coach you, but we're not actually going to provide that skills-based, that competency-based training at the very, very front end.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'd say I'm not going to knock any type of coaching, right? So if somebody's getting coaching within their organization, you're doing it right. I think the thing that is maybe an opportunity for improvement is just getting to the problem before it is actually a problem, right? So when we're in late stage deal coaching, there's probably things there that could have been avoided had we provided foundational skills training to get people further along, right? And making sure that you're expanding your resources, that you're not needed to be on every single call late stage or anything like that, because your reps can close it on their own, and closing deals is a big thing that enablement's always going to want to equate their work to, right? So we see companies with enablement have a 7.5% increase in overall win rates compared to companies that don't. It's a big deal. I mean, I know it's a small percentage, 7.5, like you might not look at that numbering as a staggering number, but if you're looking at a 60 to 100K deal size between 50 to 100 deals a year, 7 deals a year, increase in 7.5%. I mean, there's a possibility of a team with enablement to one that doesn't have it of like $2 million in between that, right? It's a significant number. So I think it's just really shows how important enablement function is inside of a revenue organization to help drive the outcomes that you're wanting to see from the team.
Yeah. So the analogy might be a stretch, very similar to medicine. I mean, what we're talking about is like preventative medicine versus like, oh my God, I already, have, skin cancer, right? So now I got to go to the doctor, as opposed to, taking steps well in advance to mitigate that type of risk, basically.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things is it's tough right now, especially being a former enablement practitioner myself and having a lot of folks in my network who are in that function. It's tough to see that it's been one that's been hit really hard from a layoffs perspective, because it is a multiplying organization within inside of a company. So, it's hard to sometimes equate like selling success directly back to a single training initiative. But I think that that's something that enablement practitioners are getting better at every day. But, only 40% of businesses with the sales team of 25 sellers or less have enablement in their org, right? So you were talking smaller companies, 25 sellers, it's still a team that needs support, right? And somebody's not coming to work every day thinking about how those people can drive revenue. And so you get the opposite end of 80% of organizations with 500 sellers or more have enablement on their team. So there's an understanding as you go up market of the validity and the necessity to have an enablement team in order to perform at the best. So, I feel like sometimes it's seen as like a luxury for like small to mid-sized teams, which is tough because it is really a multiplying factor within the organization.